My name is Peter, and welcome to a video about sailing vessel Silverheels, my Rhodes 22. This is going to be a project video, which we haven't had a project video in a little while, and in part that's because we don't have very many projects, but there is one that I've kind of been holding off showing you until I had time to live with it for a while and make sure it's actually going to work out. So this falls into the general category of boat furniture, but I haven't redone the galley again. This is actually on the other side, the settee. This is the port side aft wall or bulkhead of the cabin on the Rhodes 22, and usually the space is mostly empty, but I've filled it up with stuff. And we'll start at the top. The black thing is a Bluetooth speaker, the Ounce Angle. It turns out, I got that because it's supposed to be somewhat water resistant, which I haven't really tested out. But the triangular nature of it works well with the slope of the aft wall there, which is about 60 degrees. So pure serendipity. That's actually, the shelf has been there for a couple of years. Then the rest of the stuff is new. So I sometimes refer to this as my instrument panel. And it all started with the desire to have a thermometer, which is the needle on the right and the scale on the left is temperature, and the other one is humidity, and it's about 82 degrees with about 60% humidity at the moment. Feels kind of damp to me. And since this is a sailboat, well, if we're going to have weather instruments, we should have a barometer, of course, and so we do. And we also have a compass. I got this idea from a book, Sensible Cruising, I believe was the name. It's out of print, unfortunately. I really like it. Written by Don Casey. And he recommended having a compass on the interior. It comes in useful, while I'm sitting here in the settee, I can check to see how I'm swinging, or I can see if, the wind is shifted in the middle of the night and we're off in it, pulling the anchor in a different direction. Although it is thrown off by the metal in the two weather instruments, so it's certainly not usable for navigation. Underneath, we've got a total of 4 USB outlets. We've got a switch for a light in the compass, which after I installed it all, found was useless, and a switch for the light here. It's a little LED light on a pivot that could potentially come in handy. This thing takes up a space where there was a little spotlight that mounted up here, so I was able to use the electrical connection there to power this whole thing. So below the instrument panel, we've got a little narrow shelf that's useful for holding electronic gizmos, where they're close to the USB ports and so can be conveniently charged. The Bluetooth speaker also gets charged via a USB port. So we've got an iPad Air 2, I think, in a weatherproof case, so it's a little larger and clunkier. An iPhone SE, old model, also in a weatherproof case, so it's large and clunky. A little place for holding pens and pencils, a couple. That idea came to me late in the process. And a spot for my Kindle to live. So that's all handy. And below that is a table. Obviously it's a folding table, and it's folded down. Now this was, let me get to the side here, It has some magnets behind it that are supposed to hold it up against the wall, and when I first installed it, they did, but they don't anymore. So I don't know what's up with that. It's not that big a deal, so when it's down, it really doesn't. It's about an inch and an eighth thick, so it doesn't take up very much of the cabin. Of course, it's not much use down like this, so it needs to be able to go up, and it's held in place by these two arms. Now, the tricky part of all this is that this wall that we're mounted to here is not vertical. It slopes in at about 5 degrees. And so I had to figure out how to make the table level, even though that's 5 degrees. And the secret was to also tilt this hinge by 5 degrees so that this angle here is 95 degrees. And then if we fold that out and bring it down, the shelf is level. So there's a little pin here that will register in the swing arm there, and the same for the other, and now we have a table. So here's probably a better angle on the table. So the dimensions on this are about 24 side to side and 14 fore and aft inches. And there's fiddles on 3 sides that can be dropped out of the way if they're ever in the way. Well, I guess that's about all there is to say about the new boat furniture.